Thank you for listening to another episode of TeeVo The Beard. This episode has been brought to you in part by social support from Mark Gunn. Find out more about the Celt Father at markgunn.com and look him up on iTunes under Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. It's also been brought to you by support from Blame Your Brother Podcast. You can find out more about them at bybpod.com. And also, of course, we'd like to thank all of our lovely listeners. Thank you and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of TeeVo The Beard.
You can't see us, but I am TeeVo, and that is The Beard, and I still want to shout out on the mountaintop of my love of Michelle Gomez.
Yes.
We're getting serious here.
You are?
We're getting serious.
Yeah.
I've now searched more shows and clips of her.
Oh, yeah.
And
including
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, yeah.
And someone who has sworn off Doctor Who. I never thought that this actress or character is the one to break me. Yeah. I always thought Karen Gillan or Billie Piper was going to be the catalyst.
That would make sense, yeah.
But it's just, and in these days of reflection, since our last recording, I've kind of, went in the retrospect of why I never got into it till now.
How so?
Well, I just had to dig deep. Mm-hmm. And first off, the theme song scared me when I was a kid.
I can see that, yeah.
Where I grew up, I was pretty much alone in fandom. So and I was not a resourceful child. Mm-hmm. So if I didn't have access to find out something, I was just out of luck.
Right.
So reading comics was not a thing for me as a child because we didn't have a comic book store.
Right.
Nor did our local bookstore was up to date. No different than today's local bookstores.
Oh, yeah.
But, back then it was just difficult. And plus I didn't have a car or means to go.
Right.
So it was just kind of, if I saw a comic book at a gas station, I just got it for the pictures.
Right. So like Archie and stuff like that.
Stuff like that. And only Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the story. Right. Also, I didn't know how to read.
Oh, yeah.
So
it was literally the pictures.
It was literally the pictures. Yeah. But I didn't know story or anything or means or the fact that you had to keep buying them.
Right, yeah.
And same thing
That's how they get you.
And same thing goes with certain TV shows. Mm-hmm. Especially back in the day.
Yeah.
Children of today won't know this.
Children before streaming.
That before streaming, if you didn't catch it on TV,
yeah,
that's that.
Yeah. And
you might...
Unless it happened to come to syndication, but there were so many shows that never made it to syndication.
Exactly. So... but I remember looking at the picture and like the old graphics with the theme song. I was like, that's unnerving to me. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Yeah. And then it went away,
right?
Or at least went away from certain TV shows, and then it made a resurgence. And I will say, the closest I've been, I was interested because of David Tennant's face.
Right.
He's a very kind face, and I didn't hear the theme. Of course, I was older then, so certain things have.
Well, the theme changes each time.
It does change, but I've been more sensitized to scary noises.
That's true, yeah.
But again, had no means to watch it.
Right.
So naturally, and nobody else was watching it that I knew of. So,
yeah, and the DVDs cost about $11 billion. So yeah,
and that was when the dawn of DVDs. So they were definitely expensive then. But just no one to talk to about it. No way to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're just,
it's going to be a thing that exists. It's not in TiVo's world.
It's not in TiVo's world.
Yeah.
And then I will say the thing that made me not like it. I'm going to say Matt Smith.
Okay.
I remember.
Is it his lack of eyebrows?
I think the dawn of Matt Smith, and I think the over-accentuating of the quirkiness I've heard of the Matt Smith era just made me go, I don't like that.
Yeah. That's Mrs. The Beard's favorite doctor.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I can honestly say right now that I still do not have a favorite doctor.
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
Yeah, and that's fair. Yeah.
But
you have a favorite master.
But yeah, I've just looked more into the doctor of the show, the character, and said, you're kind of boring. Aside from
outside of the story. Yeah.
Aside from David Tennant, I think you're boring.
Yeah, I've tried to read like some of the books. To me, it doesn't really work well on paper.
Yeah. However, the Master.
Yes.
I think I have a relationship with the Master, I'll say my love of the Reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he's the anti-Doctor.
Right.
Well, naturally, they always give the bad guy cooler things to do.
Of course, yeah.
But, you could say that I love all bad guys, which, I mean, there are villains I like definitely more than Hero, but that's not always true. Like, I don't love Moriarty.
Right.
From Sherlock. It doesn't interest me.
Good actor, though.
Just because he's an anti-Sherlock. It's like, but Sherlock's cool enough already.
Right,
We don't need a bad one.
And also, Sherlock's kind of the anti-hero himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, that's not the case there.
Mm-hmm.
And, with Star Wars...
Yeah.
I mean, heroes win there.
Right.
I mean, I think the heroes are very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the new Darth Vader's cool and all that, but,
The heroes.
Yeah.
But, however, going back, but something about the Master, but especially Missy.
Right.
So, been YouTubing lots and lots of videos.
Nice.
Lots and lots. Very struggling to understand context, because it's
right.
a whole new fandom I am dipping my toes in.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I dig further, I might just want to dress up as Missy.
Okay.
Just maybe for Halloween.
Yeah.
Maybe just for the comfort of my home.
Yeah, just for the heck of it. For the show.
Nobody
will be able to see you, but...
We'll take pictures.
Right, yeah.
But it is weird because, if you have followed our social media, you will see that I am an Asian man.
Yes.
And growing up, I did have to fight the stereotype. I want to like comics, not manga.
Right. Yeah.
I want to
American comics.
I want to watch. I want to watch. Sci-fi shows.
Yeah.
Not just anime.
Right.
And then, granted, I probably disappointed so many nerdy white kids. They thought, yes, we can get the good stuff. What?
Right.
You don't watch this stuff?
Right.
You don't read the stuff? I'm sorry.
You can't translate it all for us?
I mean, past Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, I'm gone.
Which might as well be American cartoons.
Which might as well be, but I'm gone.
So let's reverse engineer Gomez for a minute here. Do you think if you would have seen her on Doctor Who, like if you just happened to see a clip of Doctor Who that had her in it, or an episode that had her in it, do you think that seeing her in Doctor Who would have made you like her as an actress?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because as I said last week, I first watched Green Wing, and I watched it for two other actors. Well, three. Yeah. But, I was aware she was in it, and I was aware that she has a role on Doctor Who. Yeah. But I was like, oh, well, I don't know what to expect. Right. And she just blew me out of the water. And what I've seen of the clips of Missy, kind of the same thing. Okay. I think I would at least like the actress, because I like the choices she makes. And, granted, after binging on many shows and clips of her work, that's just the way she acts on, screen. But I like it. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, no, a lot of actors and actresses, they find that their niche. And, then if they're good enough actors, the shows kind of find a way to fit them.
Yes. So recap, I've binged all of Green Wing. I watched this old show called The Book Group. Okay, yeah. It's an old show. It had two series in 2002 and 2003. It's not a funny show, so that was very surprising for me.
That's the reason I haven't gotten into that, really.
But it's only 30 minutes, six episodes each. I mean...
Yeah, you're not wasting a lot of time.
You are not. And then I am into a show called Bad Education right now, which I was originally going to watch just for her, but it turns out to be a funny show. So so she's expanding my horizons. Yes, but I mean she's wonderful. Yeah. And then the clips of other shows that I cannot find the full episodes, but there are clips and trailers. And then she did a YouTube kind of short series called Heather's American Medicine. Okay. I don't know what the point of it is, but I just like it. Okay. Mainly because of her.
Now, did she do that before getting into
she
TV
did that
properly?
That was only 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So this is a very, very Doctor Who. Okay. Michelle Gomez. Yeah. As in, I'm pretty sure this was shot. She did this after getting the role and everything. Yeah. So it's not like this is a hidden gem. Oh no, this is sort of recent.
Yeah, because sometimes you do look at the little back catalog and realize all this stuff that they practiced with before hitting it big.
Oh no, this is quite current. Okay. But that's enough of my rant.
So this has been the Anglophile section of the show here. So we're going to talk about 3 American shows.
Yes.
Or 2 American shows in a movie.
Yes. But American.
American.
Well,
yeah.
I guess we're going to loop back to the Anglo.
Yeah. So we have the new Star Trek, Discovery.
Yes.
We have the Orville.
Yes.
And we have Kingsmen 2.
Yes.
Yes, the Golden Circle.
The Golden Circle.
Yeah, I keep wanting to call it Golden Ring.
I kept wanting to call it the Golden Army.
Oh, see? So you got a Hellboy thing going. I got a Lord of the Rings thing going. It's all wrong.
Yes. But we're going to start with Discovery. Now, I am not watching Discovery.
Right.
Well, you know what? I would if CBS, as we said last week, did not put certain restrictions on audiences.
Yeah. I've come to the point where I'm no longer mad at CBS for doing it. I'm just disappointed.
That's a good way to put it.
Because
it's just odd because this is obviously a high-profile show.
Yeah.
They are spending good money on it.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you want more people to watch it?
Right.
I mean, I understand, having people pay to watch it is a nice thing, but then why?
Yeah.
And also, I read this week that is the most pirated pilot.
Oh, yeah, understandably.
I mean, yeah. If you're making people pay to see it, you're going to get that.
Right, yeah. And, even though Star Trek has a large fandom,
right,
not all of us will just throw our money into something because it has Star Trek attached to it.
And you're staking your Star Trek card on that?
I am, yeah, because I'm one of those people where I won't throw my money at it just because it says it. Now, if a movie comes out, I will negate myself.
Well, I mean, you're spending $15 at one time.
Right, yeah.
CBS is making you spend $8
a month. Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
And this show will last, for 20 some episodes.
That's being broken into 2 different parts.
Well, and that's at least 8 months or so.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
And then if you read the CBS All Access website, they say, we have, episodes of this and this and this. And I look at the list and I'm like, that's on Netflix, that's on Hulu, that's on Amazon Prime. It's like, you're not offering me anything new. That's why...
At this point, they were literally making you pay $8 a month to watch Star Trek.
Right. And that's why it's gone from anger to disappointment. And I was like, if you want me to pay it, give me a reason.
Yes.
Of course, I say that now watch CBS wipe all their other stuff from the other streaming companies. Yes. It's like, now you have to come to us.
So the breakdown of the show, from what I understand, is so it takes place before the original series.
Right, about a decade before.
Okay. Yeah. And who are the characters that people who are going to watch it and haven't, or are curious to watch it, should know?
Well, you've got the second in command, the number 1, as it were, that Michael Burnham.
Okay.
And there's no in-story context for her name, but Fuller, the original creator of the show, who is no longer working on the show, there were a couple Michaels in his life that he kind of named this female character after. If it's ever explained in the show why she is named Michael,
not that we're saying
that's wrong, but but it is.
It's not a usual name you hear for a female character,
right? Yeah.
So whenever I read it, I was like, wait, is that a typo?
Right.
Because not that there's anything wrong with it,
right? And the interesting thing about this first 2 episodes is we're not on the Discovery.
But it's called Star Trek Discovery.
The show is called Star Trek Discovery, but we are on the USS Shinsu.
Okay.
Which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Which is piloted by someone who you are a fan of.
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh.
And she was one of the first high-profile castings of the show.
Right.
Of which I thought, well, clearly, she's, the star of the show.
Right, yeah.
Or she's going to be the Kirk or, Picard. And that's not the case.
Well, no, she's the captain for now.
Okay.
In these first 2 episodes. I'm going to try to dance around spoilers, but I will say that when you're watching the opening credits, it says guest starring her. So that does kind of give you an indication of the duration that she will, and she's the last one mentioned also in the cast list. So it kind of gives you an idea of how long she's going to be in it.
Now, we spoke earlier, and I asked you, does this feel like a Star Trek show?
And it does. It does to me.
And so that that should make Trekkies happy.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, how so? How does it feel like a Star Trek show?
Well, you are in the middle of, I'm trying to think if this is before the Federation actually got formed within Star Trek lore. But even if it's not, it is the Federation. So you are in Federation space. You are with this not army, even though sometimes they do get into their own little mischief. This Discovery class of people that are out there trying to seek out new life and new civilization, even though that is not mentioned in this. Who just happened to get into trouble, and that's very Star Trek like, because that's what the whole thing was from the first series, is they were going to explore the Milky Way. And so, but of course you can't have an hour-long show where they're just going around looking at stars. You got to have some action in there, and this show does it very well.
So CBS did everybody a favor, kind of.
Yeah.
So they actually aired these 2 episodes on CBS.
Right.
But if you want to watch further, you have to do bad things or pay for it.
Right. Or live overseas and watch it on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what did we learn about these 2 episodes if you're going into the series?
It does great character introduction because they're calling the first 2 episodes a prologue. I see it more as a prologue and a first chapter.
Right.
Because while, of course, this whole season is going to be connected, it's not episodical like past Star Trek shows. It feels they're connected, but it still feels like 2 separate pieces. So I wouldn't read it as one prologue together. But we get introduced to the captain and her first officer in the first episode, so we get to see their relationship. We've learned that they've been working together 7 years. Okay. That Burnham was actually raised on Vulcan.
Okay.
By Spock's dad.
And how does that work out?
It's not really explained that that's Spock's dad yet. So how she fits into this is supposed to fit into the canon of the all the series, not the new movies, but the original series. So it's not explained how she fits into the canon yet, because Spock never mentions having a stepsister or half-sister or anything like that. But we've met his dad, and it's possible that we could see his mom at some point, his human mom. They use, even though this is not connected to the Abramverse, they do use some elements from there. I don't know if you remember when Spock is in his little learning circle thing. That's when we see Burnham as a child. She's in there learning about war and all things Vulcan. And actually, she's learning about Klingon, which is a very important thing within the show. The first episode is a lot of exposition, but it kind of has to be because
you're the first episode.
You're the first episode. You're introducing some new characters, a couple minorly known characters. Nobody real big has shown up that a passing fan would recognize has shown up. And
so I take it we're not going to see a Spock that we know of.
That's unclear. Yeah.
Or we might not see a Kirk.
I doubt we'll see a Kirk. Just because, we're not anywhere near Earth at the moment. They're at the edge of Federation space, and that's how they end up running into the Klingons. So we're, light years away from Earth at the time. So the chances of running into him is, not likely, but we've, had contact with Vulcans within the show, so it is possible.
Are you happy with the way they portrayed Vulcan?
Yeah, I mean, we don't see much of the planet itself, so that's still kind of up in the air. But as far as a species, I mean, they're pretty cut and dry. Right. They're logical. They think with their heads, not with their hearts. Spock's dad seems like he would be Spock's dad. When I first saw that she was on Vulcan, I thought they were going to do a kind of like Spock switch, where maybe her mom was a Vulcan and her dad was human, and that's why she has regular ears. But it turns out, for some unknown reason, she was raised on Vulcan.
But I take it that will be explained later.
I'm hoping so.
Because
just to have a human randomly raised there. And
I assume Spock is born?
That I'm not sure of. I believe because this happens in our years, it would be 2256.
So like you said, Spock has never mentioned having any form of sibling.
Right.
So is this so that in itself, this relationship between her and Spock's father will need to be explained at a later point. I don't need to tell you right now.
Right.
But you would like to know how this came up.
Oh, definitely. But it's all in what gets considered canon and all that too. So you take something again from the movies, you take Sulu being gay. But then if we look in the books, which are technically canon, he had a wife and a daughter. So
well, I mean, there are many gay men who
that's true. So it's like, canon is something that can definitely be molded.
You did mention if you had to nitpick at things, there are certain things.
There are. Yeah.
What are those things?
The first thing is the intro.
Okay.
I like my Star Trek to show the ship in space. I know.
You showed me the intro. It does show the ship.
It does show the ship, kind of. It shows it drawn.
Okay.
And it shows different things, like different pieces of technology kind of being formed. Phasers, the communicator, the Vulcan salute, just all being formed there. And it's a well done intro. I just don't feel that it is a Star Trek intro. And whoever scored it did obviously get inspired by the original theme song, because you can kind of hear the influence in there. And when I heard that, I expected, and it can be a female voice, I'm not particular, saying, the decree of Star Trek, space, the final frontier, the whole.
Well, maybe after a certain number of episodes, you will get that.
Maybe
because in the Abrams films, which is about the only Star Trek that I know of, it took really until the second film that they said that. So maybe after this prologue that they are advertising it as, then you'll get.
So maybe episode 3 it'll start like that.
We don't know.
We don't know because the way episode 2 ended. But one thing that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and of course I'd be remiss to not mention, is the Klingons.
Yes.
People, the fandom, I will say, is not a fan of the way these Klingons look.
Why is that?
Because they look different than Worf. Heaven forbid. And the old school fans don't like Worf either, and they definitely don't like the new Klingons because they don't look anything like the original series.
Now, you've shown me a picture of the original series Klingons.
Which are more humanoid looking.
And Commander Worf, and what Discovery has shown.
Right.
They are indeed different.
They are. They're different, but there are similarities within all of them. And I think and I'm not basing this on any quote-unquote facts. The only thing that makes me a Star Trek episode in this room is because you know less about it. So, but I believe that there are different sub-races of Klingons, and that perfectly explains why they can look different.
And you made a great analogy that if an alien were to crash land right now and see you and then see any of me and anyone else, we're the same species,
right?
But we obviously look different,
right?
We're all going to look the same,
right? And there's considerable differences within humans, so why not within Klingons also?
That's your fact, and you're sticking with it.
I'm sticking with that until something actually canon, like the show, says otherwise.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not including the Trek Into Darkness Klingons because that is a different timeline completely anyway.
And universe.
And so, but I like the way they're doing these Klingons because...
I did remember watching Star Trek Into Darkness going, well, those don't look like Commander Worf.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people did that.
But I'm sure they were angrier about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't remember them looking like that.
Yeah. The ships looked right to me in darkness. That was the main thing I cared about.
I didn't know there were Klingon ships.
There are different ships in this one, but I mean that can be explained away by this is a different time period than Next Generation and forward. So one thing I like about these Klingons though is that they are a warrior class. They are, they believe in the good fight, but Klingons are made of 24 houses, and they're at the beginning of this they're separate. There's a divide within the houses, and there's one who's trying to get them all back together, and it shows kind of the culture of the Klingons more, and it makes them, for lack of better phrasing, more relatable.
Okay.
So you actually get to see their human side, big air quotes in that, and I like that. I like the fact that they do speak Klingon. Now, I will call myself out and say the version of episode 1 I watched and the version of episode two that I watched were different. Episode 1, I watched the Netflix version. Episode 2, I watched the CBS version. For some reason, in my Episode 1 version, there were no subtitles when they were speaking Klingon, which I thought was an artistic choice, but it's not. So I had no clue what they were saying.
I take it you are not that hard into Trekkie that you do not understand Klingon.
I don't understand Klingon, no. I remember back in the 90s wanting to get the book on tape, learn how to speak it. My parents would never buy it for me.
So you missed your chance to learn Klingon.
I did, yeah. No, I think once you hit, 37, it's hard to learn any other language.
Let alone a make-believe one.
Right. But so I thought I liked it without the subtitles because you still got the context of what was going on. You saw that he was trying to trying to get the Klingons all back together. He's trying to rally this army against the Federation.
It is funny when you're forced to use context clues.
Right.
Because in a different manner or sense, the book group show I was watching, Michelle Gomez, they're characters of Dutch descent and Swedish descent. And in one version of the show, they had subtitles. Yeah. And then when I found the second series, there were no subtitles. Yeah. So, and it's not like they said a quick thing, right, and then move on. Yeah. There were scenes. Yeah, that's how this was. Yeah. They were speaking in a language I did not know. So it was like, okay, well, they're obviously angry. Yeah. Because I don't see happiness going on.
Well, that is hard to tell with Klingons. Yeah. It's like, are they happy? Are they excited? What's
right?
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of like that because it did kind of make it. It's like you were the fly on the wall of this whole Klingon coalition, where if you were to land on Kronos, you wouldn't understand what they were saying. So this is the version you're getting. By episode 2, it's like, oh, that's what they're saying. Okay, I called all that in the first episode, so it made me feel kind of good about myself too.
Now, how do you rank this so far? I mean, 2 episodes in, there's a lot to go. There's a lot of history with the other ones. Yeah. But so far, does it rank pretty high or pretty steady in the Star Trek show rankings to you?
I mean, to go with the actual shows, Next Generation is going to be my top one. Then Voyager, then Deep Space Nine, original series, and Discovery might be vying for the same spot right now, and then Enterprise at the bottom.
So you printed out a lovely timeline of the shows so far.
Using actual years, not star dates.
So Enterprise takes place before?
Yes, because Enterprise is before the Federation's formed, is before, and that's actually, I forgot that they also use the blue suits. So that's where Discovery gets their navy blue suits from. I mean,
so the original is obviously Mr. Shatner's. Right. And Next Generation is Patrick Stewart. Right. What is Deep Space Nine?
That's Michael Sisko. I can't think of the actor's name right now. It was the African American commander. Because that's the great thing about the Star Treks that have succeeded have done something different each time. So when you have the original series, it's during the time when cowboys and Indians and all that is big. So you have your tough guy being the captain. When the Next Generation came out, it was we have computers, we have nerds becoming big. So you have Picard. With Deep Space Nine, you have your first minority as a leader of a command.
What's Voyager?
Voyager is Janeway. So you have a female commander. And now with Discovery, we're looking through the lens of the second in command.
So we're no
longer looking through the captain's eyes.
So the marquee character so far of these 2 episodes and how the show's looking to form, it's not about the captain.
It's not about the captain, not at all.
Is that okay with you?
It is, yeah, because even though it's not about the captain, I mean, she's obviously still, at least the captain we have right now, is obviously still important in these 2 episodes, but it gives more room for relationship to form and to show, and to kind of, this makes Michael us. It's like, when you're watching shows like this, it's like, oh, I want to be Picard, I want to be Kirk, they're the captains. That's all well and good, but in real life, how many of us would actually make it to captain? Right. We'd be on the bridge, taking orders from her. Maybe we'll make it up to number 1. So this kind of gives us that point of view. All right. I'm enjoying it.
Well, I hope it's to your liking.
Yeah.
And I hope it continues to.
I mean, it would have to make a far left turn in order for me to drop it. Do I think it would be worth paying $8 a month for, though? No. I mean, sorry, CBS. We're obviously not going to get their sponsorship for this episode.
That's just that.
Yeah.
The way I've been thinking, if I had to watch certain shows, is that I would pay a one-time fee.
Yeah.
And wait for them all to drop.
Right.
And then watch them all within the month.
Yeah, so after next year, when the second half of the season drops, then you can binge the whole thing.
I'll pay $8 to watch it all.
And that's what the people that aren't pirating are going to end up doing. And, I mean, CBS may still see that as a win. I mean, I personally wouldn't. So.
But still, it's just, come on.
Yeah.
But enough of that silly CBS nonsense.
I know, enough of that space stuff. Let's move on to
another space stuff.
Yeah.
But with our friendly neighborhood Fox.
Right, yes. Who we are fans of right now because they let their stuff stream everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think they understand the importance of let's have as many people watch this stuff as we can.
Yeah. And I will watch ads if it means I get to stream it somewhere without paying extra.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about the third episode of the Orville.
Yes.
And what did you think?
I'm still loving this, and it surprises me how much I enjoy it still.
I really like this one because it's classic sci-fi. It takes real issues in our real world, put it in kind of a space like fantasy.
Yeah.
It's
because that way you're not talking about anybody particular.
Yeah, and it's thought-provoking. But it masks itself in this fictional world. Right.
And that's what science fiction as a genre was created for. It was so you can speak out against, take Starship Troopers, how it speaks against Hitler and the Nazis without getting anybody in trouble. Because it's like, oh, no, that was a giant bug alien. Yeah. That obviously wasn't Hitler. If that's what you're reading into it, fine. But I was writing about bug aliens.
Yes.
Yeah. And this episode talks about gender, but not human gender. No,
well, it talks about gender and culture,
right?
Because at the end of episode 2, Clyden and Bortus's egg has been hatched.
Yep.
And they are in a race of all males, and that was established right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's just that.
It wasn't established why or how, but
it just was.
Yeah.
And sometimes in science fiction, you don't need to know the what's and why.
I mean, you got an alien species that's all male that lay eggs.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But the egg that was born was born a female. Here lies the twist of the next episode.
Yes, because being female is a deformity.
Yes.
For their culture.
For their culture.
Yeah. And so it comes upon our captain to decide, if that's true and if he should stick his nose into the business of another culture. And
yes.
Of course, it's Seth MacFarlane, so he's going to.
Well, I like that Commander Bortus asked the, ship's doctor to perform the surgery.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
No.
Because, as they've said later, you cannot judge my culture with yours.
Right.
This is maybe not what you would do.
Right.
But this is what we do.
Yeah.
And it was very that is a very good point.
Yeah.
And very, very good point.
And they do bring up, real world scenarios. Like if somebody is born with a cleft lip, what do you do? And he said, and the captain's like, well, you get it fixed. Takes a few seconds, no problem. And they're like, well, that's your culture. You see that as a deformity, so you fix it. This is our culture. Being born female is a deformity, so it should be fixed. Yeah.
And at those moments, I was like, you have a good point.
Yeah, because my knee-jerk reaction, of course, being the progressive person I try to be, and especially having a daughter, I was like, oh, born a female. All right.
Yeah.
Fine, keep it female.
But you are not the species that Bortus is.
Right, yeah.
And you're also of the same culture as, Commander Mercer or Captain Mercer.
But
so
it was
naturally you're going to think.
That knee-jerk reaction, though. As a human, I was not on his side for changing the gender. But then when they started explaining it more, it's like, okay.
You're not really on his side, but you're on the level of, well, that is your race, your culture.
It's like, I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to stand in your way.
Yeah. That is what you do.
Yeah.
And, as long as you're not harming, in
his species' defense, they weren't trying to kill her.
Yes. Just making a different gender.
Right, yeah.
And we learn that...
Not that we're saying that's good.
Yeah. But we also learn in that Clyden, his mate, was also born female.
Yep, and his parents changed.
That was that. But I did like the way... Because it did tackle this whole issue, because clearly they referenced it from a lot of real issues, like, you know, a cleft palate or even circumcision. But again, in a science fiction way. Yeah. But I do like that they didn't kind of beat you with it in a very serious way. Right. It was all very humorous. Yeah. Like with the boxing match with Alara. Right. For her to show that, you know, I'm female and I just whooped you. And then he counters that by saying, well, your species, females are strong. So it's like, oh, he's got a point. Again, mixing, well, that's your culture. Right. And that's your, and in science fiction terms, that's your race. Yeah. But I like how each person at first tried to talk to him, tried to do it very seriously in their context, until we got to movie night. Yes. Then it was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So the two helmsmen, you know, decided, hey, let's take your mind of it. We're going to have some brews. Yeah. And, you know, watch a movie. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, what movie they're going to watch? Right. And just, you know, maybe it's just the mixture of things. Because I will say, when Seth MacFarlane does it right, he does mix genres very well. Yeah. Or just mixes genre with things you don't normally see. Right. So you see two helmsmen in their, you know, spacesuits. Yeah. You see an alien. Yeah. They are intently watching, especially Commander Borders, intently watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Right. And analyzing it. Right. Relating it to his life. Yeah, making it a much deeper movie than I've ever thought about it before. I just loved his because you see the two of them, you know, they're watching a movie as any human Earthling. Yeah, and because they've probably seen it dozens of times already. So they're all on the couch while Commander Borders is just sitting forward, just intently staring at the screen. This deformity, clearly a deformity, but it was useful. Yeah, and just, you know, taking it as more of a almost documentary-like film versus a Christmas claymation thing. Yeah, and to the point where that swayed him. Yes, because it was a life-changing film. It was life-changing because at this point he was with his mate on, hey, we have a female child. Yeah, we're gonna change it. Now he's on the wing of like, no, that's not right. Yeah, and we get to see the home planet, Bortus. Yes, which is filled with a lot of jackasses. It is, and I love when they the ship's following them, and they just run them through all these like explosions, stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you about that. I did just cringe at the whole when, you know, Commander Grayson put Alara up on the stand, because there is now a trial at this point. Yeah, you know, of whether who's right and who's wrong. Blah, and blah, Fox is going to some great lengths as far as detail to like characters, planets, things like this. It doesn't look cheaply done. It doesn't look like, you know, you believe that was that planet. Right. It doesn't look like something. If you told me, if episode 3 was the first one I was going to watch, and you told me Seth MacFarlane did this, I would not have expected this level of quality. Yes. Yeah. And I'll get to more of Seth MacFarlane himself, but just made me cringe on the whole, you know, when she had Alara in the stand and she crushed like this, you know, gavel. Yeah. And, you know, she said, well, that's a female. And I hate the guy who was like, well, you know, if it was a male, it could have done even faster. Zalayan. Yeah. It would have been half as, you know. Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. And crushed it into a more productive shape. And I was like, oh, wow. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, you guys are the worst. You guys are sure. And you want to make your daughter into one of these. Yes. Yeah. But their ace in the hole type, or they thought was the ace in the hole, was that they did find a female of that race. Yeah, I was worried from the familiarity I have with Seth MacFarlane because the judge, they asked him about circumcision, and then he's looking on his communicator, and I was thinking, okay, there's going to be like a bad dick joke coming after this, you know, in true Seth MacFarlane Family Guy type form. I thought it was going to go completely off the rails, and then they surprised me again. So I was like, yeah, we found a female living on your planet. and not only is it a female, but there is apparently a famous author or writer or, you know, that nature of that planet And surprise, surprise to everyone, it's a female.
Yeah, the one that almost all of them quote as,
Yes.
the highest of high.
Yes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, even with this,
They're still not swayed.
They decree that this child must be converted to a male.
Yeah.
But
which also surprised me because I expected it to have like this happy ending sort of thing.
Again, that's the other thing. Is it not a happy ending? I mean, it's just...
Well, we won't know now until the future. But
that's true, but just right now, it's like, well, just because of that, again, it's culture.
Yeah.
It's different, it's different values than your own.
Right.
And it's diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just brilliantly displayed on how they did that.
Yeah, and you would not expect... I mean, I have never seen an episode of Family Guy or American Dad that makes me go, they really nailed that on the head right there. They were really saying something in that episode, but... Yeah, they keep doing it with this one.
Yeah, and I want to spotlight Seth MacFarlane on this because I've been a fan of him for a long time.
Yeah,
and I've been a fan of, just his mannerisms, his humor, and all that.
Yeah,
but I would have, at least before maybe this year or some of the years prior, I would have said, well, he's the voice actor guy.
Right. Yeah,
and that's okay.
Yeah,
people make wonderful careers in voice acting and story writing.
Yeah.
When he first started venturing to the live action acting, I was like, okay, people are gonna think Brian,
right?
That's just that because that's your voice, and that's true. When he first started doing live action, I was like, I mean, I see you, but I also hear like a bunch of other characters.
Yeah, even the first episode of Orville, I was kind of like that. I was like, okay, did Peter just give that order, or what's going on?
But I will say, I guess much like anyone who wants to be better. You do get better, and you want to get better, and you try. Yeah, and I think he's been doing that because the scenes where he's telling Commander Boris to step down, I was thinking I did not see a single Family Guy character. Yeah. It was
like, that's Seth MacFarlane now.
I believe the character. I believe you are the captain of the Orville.
Right. Yeah, and that's pleasantly surprising from something like this because he's the creator of this and. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but sometimes you'll get these creative people who put themselves in the lead of their project and just do whatever they want. They don't get better. They don't necessarily get worse, but they don't get better, and they just they plateau. But no, he's steadily
so far.
climbing.
I mean, again, we're only in 3 episodes,
right?
So,
but that says a lot in 3 episodes.
Well, I like that the first, obviously, exposition. You have to at least introduce your lead characters, which is Ed and Kelly. That's just that. But I love in the second one, we really switched to Alara. Yeah, I mean, Ed and Kelly had their story being, the prisoner of the zoo planet, right? But it was really an Alara episode. Oh, for sure. And I like that this one was a Bortus episode. So I like so far within the 3 episodes, like you said, when you are the creative force behind your show, you're the star. Yeah, you probably get to call all the shots. Most people will put themselves in all the good parts. Right.
Yeah. I mean, he put himself captain, so
But I like that so far, that's not the case. Right. I mean, he's obviously still captain, giving himself some nice lines, but the storylines really reflect on the ship.
Yeah, he's been important in each episode, but he hasn't been the central figure. In each one.
And that's every time I see a movie. Any movie of any genre, when I see that the star also directed and wrote it, and most likely produced, I go in going, okay, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes it's like, of course you gave yourself all these parts. Yeah, I mean, different genres, different stuff, but 2 movies I can think of in my head. Last year I saw Birth of a Nation and Live by Night. Okay, one is the story of Nat Turner. It was written by Nate Parker. He wrote, directed, starred in it, and it sure showed. It's like, you obviously gave yourself every good line, every good part. Yeah. Who cares? It was to a point while I was watching it, it's like, who cares who's in this? Right. Because you sure didn't seem like it. And then I saw Live by Night, the Prohibition gangster movie starring Ben Affleck. And, I enjoy Ben Affleck. Right. There was a lot of flack on the fleck. Right. But now I enjoy his directorial work. Not that one. No. Because, again, same deal. That's why I equate him with Birth of a Nation. He starred it, he wrote it, he directed it,
Yeah.
he produced it, and it's like,
It's all about him.
You're in every scene.
Yeah.
Why did you get big name stars like Zoe Saldana?
Or like Adam Sandler does.
Well, now Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Because back then,
back then it was fine.
People had to put a leash on him.
Yeah.
But
now it's like if it's written, directed, and starring him, it's like I don't even watch it normally.
Well, here's the thing, and I will draw from Extra's experience because he's yet to direct something. He's barely wrote his stuff. However, because it's his production company,
right,
he does have say. Because I remember doing the one movie I did with him, The Do-Over,
right,
Netflix. Not a bad movie, by the way, guys.
Okay,
not the greatest, but
I've not checked it out yet.
It's not the worst, but I will say if you're bored.
Okay.
It's those if you're bored, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not
background noise sort of thing.
I'm not telling you to go seek it out like immediately and make that your Friday night movie.
Yeah.
Just
go watch the Orville instead.
But if it is, you won't have the worst time.
Yeah.
That being said, I remember doing a scene in the background and it was with David Spade. A small scene. You do see me, yay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very in the background.
So there's a reason for people to watch it. Right?
You'd have to know it's me though.
Yeah.
But it's in the background. And, it's just Spade. So I'm thinking, okay, so Sandler's probably not here. I mean, he's not in the scene.
Yeah.
Why would he be here? That's pretty much, they just travel in packs because not only was, Spade was there because he had to be filming. Sandler was there. Nick Swardson was there. Sandler I can see.
Yeah.
Swardson literally was hanging out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't he like literally connected to Sandler's hip there?
It's pretty much that way.
Yeah.
But, however, what I did take from the production was, so there is an actual director, not Adam Sandler.
Right.
There is a director of this movie, but the person that was directing was Sandler.
Yeah, so he directed the director.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, they conferred, but when the person that was actually giving direction to Spade was Sandler. It's like, I see how this works.
Yeah. It's like he just tells somebody, oh, yeah, you can be director so you can put your name on it, but I'm going to actually do this stuff.
That's my impression of it.
But then you also have some actors who do that, and they do it well, but not as well as McFarlane's doing. So I know you like Seth Rogen, but anything that has his name more than once in the credits, you know what you're going to get.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to be funny, and it's going to be pretty good. But I'm never expecting to be like wowed by Seth Rogen. You know?
Well, I'm going to go back to Affleck because he did 2 movies before Live by Night where he did that, The Town and Argo.
Right.
And in those movies, I don't know what happened with Live by Night, but he did focus like Seth MacFarlane's doing on the Orville. He did focus on, okay, well, I mean, I'm obviously here.
Right. Yeah.
They know that, but let's focus on the other people. That's what's wrong with his Prohibition Batman movie.
Okay.
It was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, you seem to not care about any of these other characters. So why should we?
Yeah.
Because I am just completely staring at you the entire time.
Yeah. Now, while we're talking about movies, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the new James Bond-ish, comic book-ish, movie-ish. And we're back. So now we're going to talk about the Golden Army Compass Ring Circle.
I'm going to limit this to more of a reactionary review because the Beard here has not seen any of the Kingsmen.
No.
So I won't bog you down at least with plot and all that stuff.
And that's from my understanding. If you have not seen the first one, you need to see it before seeing the second one.
I will say yes. That definitely true.
Okay.
But what I would say is that I enjoyed it. A lot of people ask me, did I like it more than the first? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But I'm going to say no for a reason.
Okay.
Because when the first movie came out, I did not read the graphic novel or anything. So I had no basis on what this was.
Yeah.
I just came in thinking, hey, it's going to be a cool spy movie. It's going to be fun, blah, blah.
I keep forgetting that it was based on a comic.
Yeah. Well, I actually did look at the graphic novel, and it is nothing like the movie.
Okay.
So much like iZombie.
Yeah.
Just don't. Just watch. Just either read it or just watch it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, look at it just for comparison's sake, sure. But
But like with iZombie, there's not even, besides names, there's nothing really to even compare.
Yeah. So I did not know what to expect in the first one. Blown away by the stylistic, violence and humor.
Okay.
And the way they flip the spy thing on its face.
Well, to give our audience kind of like a quick synopsis of what Kingsmen is without spoilers.
Kingsmen is a secret agency run in England. And
as they all are.
Yes. Well, the next one shows not really.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It's a secret agency, and just like any, secret agency, they prevent global destruction.
Mm-hmm.
They have spies, and they have cool gadgets. And let me tell you, the gadgets in these movies are amazing because they're meant to be, James Bondish.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly this is, James Bondish inspired, but their gadgets are, hidden in like everyday items.
Okay.
Like, their hand grenade is a lighter.
Oh, okay. I don't think I need to be a Kingsman. I could see me blowing myself up very quickly.
And their umbrellas, have various weaponry in them.
Okay.
So that's really cool. And the Kingsmen at least are built in the notion that they are gentlemen.
Okay.
They're gentlemen spies.
Yeah. So is this all they do, or is it like True Lies where they have these secret lives?
No, it's definitely...
They're just spies.
Well, I mean, they have a cover. Like the Kingsman brand is like a tailor shop. Okay. So, sure, they have secret identities, but they pretty much are Kingsman agents.
Okay.
So, but, with all that, still had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
And was blown out of the water from what I've shown. Second one, there's an expectation.
Yeah.
The reason why the first one is so good to me is because I just had no clue about anything I was walking into.
Yeah.
So naturally, the second one, I am going to expect, they did this in the first movie, and there was this in this movie.
And you know more about the characters and the organization and all that now. So,
But did I enjoy it? Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. But better, can't say it.
Right.
So in the second one, much like in trailers, not spoiling anything, guys, but we do see the Kingsman organization has blown to bits.
Right.
And the only two surviving agents are the two we see in the trailer.
Oh, makes sense.
And in the movie, they have a doomsday protocol. So something like this happens, this is what they do. So this is what they do. They go to their American cousins.
Oh, okay.
Which, in the United States, we have a secret organization called the Statesmen.
Statesmen?
Statesmen.
Oh, Statesmen. Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
The Statesmen. And what's cool, what I liked about the original movie with the Kingsman Agency, something they also didn't do in the comics. So again, just don't bother. They named their agents after Knights of the Round Table.
Okay.
So you have the head is Arthur.
Right.
And their tech person is Merlin.
Nice.
And, Agents Galahad, Lancelot,
right.
All that stuff. So whenever they announced they were making a sequel and they're going to branch out and do the American version, I'm thinking, ooh, what are our agents' names?
Yeah.
And I thought of, after presidents.
Right.
So obviously the head would be Washington.
Jefferson.
Yeah. That's not what they did at all.
Okay.
So their cover, much like the Kingsmen, like I said, the Kingsmen are tailors.
Right.
They deal in the clothing business. The Statesman has a whiskey brand.
I was hoping it was going to be brewery.
Yes. and each agent is named after a alcohol drink.
Nice.
So their tech person is Ginger Ale, played by Halle Berry.
Okay. I didn't know she was in this.
Yes.
Okay.
Halle Berry is the tech person. The two best agents they have is Agent Tequila.
Nice.
Played by Channing Tatum, and Agent Whiskey, played by Pedro Pascal. And their head, you will like.
Yeah.
Their head of the organization is Champagne, but you call him Champ, played by Jeff Bridges.
Nice. Now more of a reason for me to see it now.
But I will say, just for you, being a Jeff Bridges man, don't expect a lot.
Right.
So, just...
Now, is he True Grit Jeff Bridges, or... Because he ever since like True Grit and R.I.P.D. and now the Lyft commercials, I don't know if you've seen these.
Yeah, I have.
He likes using that accent.
I will say R.I.P.D.
Okay.
Because he's definitely happier than True Grit.
Yeah, but it's still that accent in there.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just
he found something that works for...
I mean, if you're going to pay me gobs of money for little work, why not? Give and take.
Yeah.
But, so then they're trying to uncover why the Kingsmen have blown up and it's crazy adventures of that. And the other thing I want to point out and I've told this to people when we're talking of Kingsmen, is I like that they give their bad guys more of a reason than just being bad guys.
Okay.
So we'll go into spoiler territory.
Okay, yeah.
Sam Jackson plays the first bad guy. He plays this...
We got a good list of actors in this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Colin Firth, I mean, I haven't mentioned him, by the way.
Yeah.
But just say he is definitely a staple of these movies.
Yeah, and he was in the first one.
He was in the first one. He's in the second one.
Yeah.
But Sam Jackson plays this megalomaniac, billionaire, trillionaire, cajillionaire, who, ultimate plan, he wants to help the Earth.
Okay.
He wants to stop pollution. He wants to better the planet.
Yeah.
Very nice. What he does is, so he is like a tech genius. So he has this ultimate plan to give everybody in the world free cell phones.
Okay.
And you will have free data. Use it however you want, wherever you want. Okay. It's on me. Naturally, I mean, if I saw
it sounds good so far.
However, at a certain point, throughout the movie, he has been gathering important people, putting chips in them, and locking them in his bunker. Okay. So you're like, okay, bad guy. Yeah. Why he was doing that was because at a certain point, he was going to release a micro sound through these cell phones to cause brutal acts of violence so that all these people will beat each other to death. And these people...
Very bad guy.
These people with a chip and in this bunker are the safe ones. Right. So they're the VIPs of the world.
Okay. But he gets to decide who's VIP.
Exactly. Yeah. But you look at it, it's like, because he, as he was equating to the president in the film, that the planet is sick. We are the virus. How do you cure a virus? You get rid of it. And you're like, I mean...
You can't say no to that.
I can't say that, you had evil plans, as in, like, his end goal was to save the planet.
Yeah, he wasn't looking for world domination sort of thing.
I mean, I'm sure, that's kind of in it. Yeah. But still, it's just, I can't say that's a terrible end goal. Right, yeah. Just the way you did it. Yeah. It's bad. But...
Especially those of us who probably would not be in the VIP
no. Yeah. They were, and it was a great kind of cinematography. It did show different cities and people just like massively beating each other to death. Yeah. Now, but in a stylistic way. Yeah. Because I think that's the other thing that really makes this movie, though very R-rated, very R-rated, but very friendly to watch because the violence in it is so stylized. It's not gruesome in any way. Okay. Even though people's heads are being blown off. Yeah. But it's just that way.
In an art way.
It really is. Yeah. And I think that's what caught me off guard watching the first movie. So naturally, again, when they do it in the second movie, it's like, oh, well, I know what to expect. Yeah, yeah. Second movie, Golden Circle. Yeah. Julianne Moore is the villain. Okay. She plays, again, a megalomaniac drug dealer. Yeah. But her quirk is that she is kind of like stuck in the 50s mindset. And so she is forced to live in the middle of nowhere.
In America.
Oh.
No, she's in England?
Nope. Her base is in Cambodia.
Oh, okay.
That's how far. Well, she's...
So she went to the middle of nowhere and then kept going.
Yes. Well, as she said, her big beef was the war on drugs because she is a drug dealer, but she is forced to live in complete nowhere. But in her character's name is Poppy. She has made Poppy Land. So she has a boutique, a diner, a movie theater, and everything else to make her comfortable.
But she's the only one there.
No, she has guards. Oh, but essentially
but not like citizens.
The guards.
Yeah. Not free citizens, I should say.
Yeah. But she does have she does run, I guess, her own bad guy agenda of sorts. She does have henchmen as well as guards. Yeah. And her end goal was to legalize drugs. Okay. Because we're not going to get too political, but there are certain things you can have in this country and certain things you cannot. Right. And if there were regulations, would it be as bad? We don't know, but that's what this movie tackled. Right. She basically infected all the drugs of the world so that you will die. But don't worry, I have an antidote. Of course. But we need to make it legal. If your leaders don't, well,
you all die.
You'll die. But if you do, her condition was everything's legal. She gets to go back home, and we're all happy with regulations and stuff. It wasn't make it legal so that everybody can do it willy nilly, right? But just make it like aspirin, right?
Yeah.
And again, you're like,
it's like, can't argue with your logic. Maybe your plan, but
again, the bad guys are like, I can't argue with you, but just execution.
Right.
So that's in a nutshell that.
Mm-hmm.
There has been talk, based on the success, which I think has been pretty well so far. It's only been out a week.
Yeah.
That Matthew Vaughn, the director, which if you don't know him, he did first Kick-Ass, he did Layer Cake, Stardust, X-Men First Class. This is a director.
So he knows how to make a movie.
This is a director that I really started to respect so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big deal when he said he was coming back for this one, because he has not done a sequel yet.
Right.
He's had movies where they made sequels of it, but he didn't do it.
And then you see the sequel and you realize why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or at least you can see why the first one was so good.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely pinged in my gotta see.
Yeah.
And, I was worried. Not worried at all now. Because if you are the driving creative force of something, clearly you're going to know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And he said because based on the success, there might be a third one. Mm-hmm. And he's also entertaining the idea of a spin-off with the Statesman.
Okay.
Because after the movie, I said, you know what? I think they should expand this whole secret organization thing.
Yeah.
I like that the first one you saw like the, Western European type thing. Mm-hmm. And this new one, we got a American version.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like a Chinese version of whatever this is.
Yeah.
So, Matthew Vaughn, don't want to tell you what to do.
But do it.
But that just sounds cool. And I just love the notion of like getting, veteran actors to play the head. Like someone like a Jackie Chan or a Jet Li to play like the head of the organization. Mm-hmm. But, however, I did think, well, you know what? Maybe put that in a spin-off.
Yeah.
Because if you bog it down with too many other spy groups, I think you lose the notion of Kingsmen. Because what are these movies about? They're about the Kingsmen. Mm-hmm. But maybe a spin-off.
So you have the Kingsmen, they introduce us to the Statesmen. The Statesmen can introduce us to the Terracotta Warriors. And
something like, I don't know what they call them.
I don't know a lot about Chinese history. So
well,
I was going with the, least racist thing I could think of.
But, I don't know. But it's just something, because we're exploring that world. Mm-hmm. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
But if he wants to come back for the third one, I'm there.
So does he seem like the type of director, like ones like James Gunn, where he's only going to tell a story if he has a story to tell? He's not going to just make movies for the sake of making movies?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the type of director I really respect.
I really equated to that, and again, like with Kick-Ass, especially. I mean, X-Men, even though he clearly made the better movie,
right?
But I mean, it's an X-Men story.
And it's existing property. It's well known. It's
not like it's doomed if he didn't do it.
Right.
I mean, I still enjoyed Days of Futures Past, for that. I didn't like Apocalypse. That's where that he had, at least Matthew Vaughn had a hand in Days of Futures Past.
Right.
Before he ultimately decided not to, and Bryan Singer came in. Mm-hmm. With Apocalypse, he had nothing. And it showed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
that was a movie.
Yes. So, with Kick-Ass, he made a great first movie. Again, didn't know what to expect from this. Mm-hmm. Even though that followed the comics a lot closer. Yeah. It was just a surprise, because you're watching a movie, and when you get blown away and don't expect what you're about to see, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So he did Kingsman, same deal. So I was worried, like, oh no, are you being pressured in a sequel? Yeah. Because you haven't done it before. I have to think there's a reason.
Right.
But he had more story to tell. Yeah. At least I'd like to think he did. Okay. And he's openly saying that he's the one teasing 3.
Okay, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So in a way, also like James Gunn there. So
exactly.
Straight from the horse's mouth, you can trust it more.
Now, whether he directs it or not, we don't know, but he's at least keen on writing it. Okay. And I've said this earlier, I'm glad James Gunn is directing 3, Guardians Galaxy Volume 3, but if he wasn't, just please at least write it.
Right, yeah. Have a big hand and have both hands.
Yes. Now, I'm glad you have all the hands.
Right.
But just, if you at least wrote it, I would feel better. That's, again, with Kick-Ass 2, Matthew Vaughn, nowhere.
No, I mean, Kick-Ass 1 and 2 are like 2 separate movies.
And the movie showed.
Yeah.
And the movie reflected that.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. I own one of them. And you can guess which one.
I do own one of them. I have a digital copy of the second one because I thought I liked it.
Yeah.
I immediately sold it back.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I still have it, so I guess if I really wanted to watch it again,
Yeah.
I can, but I haven't.
Yeah. Right.
But one, we're aces.
Yeah, definitely.
But that would be my expectation of a third one. But again, he, unlike Kick-Ass 1, I don't know, maybe he didn't want to come back for another story and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But Kingsman 1 did not end on, like, the cliffhanger scene we got at the end of Kick-Ass.
Okay.
So it's a complete
So it can
movie.
exist by itself.
It is a complete movie.
Yeah.
The second one, maybe. But overall, it's like, well, if you need that answered, you know, maybe you have nothing going on in your life.
Okay.
It's a lot to say, but
Yeah.
but it's not really a cliffhanger-esque. It's just like, I'd like to see where that goes, more or less.
Right, yeah.
But again, same deal. You can just watch it. I mean,
Okay.
you'd have to watch the first one, but
Right.
you know, you're not. He didn't set it up like, oh boy, look what I did here.
Yeah. So it almost seems like Star Wars New Hope, where you could watch Star Wars New Hope just by itself.
Yes.
You don't have to watch. Well, with that one, you don't have to watch the prequels, but you don't have. It didn't have to continue.
Yeah.
But
you
at
have,
the same,
you have to watch the next one if you watch Empire,
right? Yeah.
or you just hated Han Solo that much.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, oh, good. Well,
but with the New Hope, it was like, I want to see where these people go.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, in that way.
Okay.
But that is my thought.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, and I love the all gratuitous violence they put in it.
Right.
But again, it's very stylized, it's not gross.
Right.
Well,
To a degree.
yeah, to a degree.
Yeah.
Because Julianne Moore's character, Poppy, has like this giant meat grinder she puts people through.
Okay.
That could have got a lot more graphic, but it didn't.
Okay.
I mean, it still showed a person going through a meat grinder,
Yeah.
but it could have gotten a lot more graphic.
So it was the least graphic a meat grinder could be, and still be a meat grinder.
Yes.
Yeah.
She also made hamburgers out of it.
Well, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like her in the
She
movie.
went Sweeney Todd on this.
In the movie, that was like her test of loyalty. She had two guys, and she had one of her henchmen kill the other one, put him in the meat grinder, and to test his loyalty, she made a hamburger out of him.
Wow.
And
so
not only, and like I said, she is like the 50s housewife, so she didn't just sling a hamburger. She put the gloves on. She,
right.
did the meat. She put it on the grill, put little tiny bits of onion in it and salt and pepper. And then when he came back from getting his golden circle,
yeah,
and she had a plate and it had the nice classic bun and a big giant meat patty and a tomato and
but he knows
cheese.
This is a person.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He knows it's a person. Oh, it wasn't full, but just the presentation in her cooking.
Yeah.
I was like, if I didn't know that was a person.
If I was a cannibal, that's how I would eat my burger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't seen it, you should. But again, like with you, see the first one.
Yeah.
It does need to exist. I mean, they do reference a lot in the first movie, so there is that. So if you forgot,
right,
there is that. But it would just enrich your life.
Okay, you get a better understanding of who the Kingsmen are before you meet the Statesmen.
Yeah, well, there is it's the ever classic stake of, what if all these things get taken away? So if you literally go in the second one, you haven't had a relationship with the Kingsmen. So when they get blown up, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not, even though it does fit in kind of the James Bond box, kind of, it's, you don't have to watch Sean Connery James Bond to watch Daniel Craig James Bond.
Well, thankfully, there are only 2 movies, so
yeah,
it's easier if you had to. But
yeah. But where there is stuff that Daniel Craig's James Bond does reference from the old ones, if you haven't seen them, you're not missing anything. Where this one, obviously, with Kingsman, you would be missing stuff.
You would be missing just because of that. Because, if you're watching it, I like to watch things for character.
Right.
So, number 2 jumps right into it.
Okay.
You don't really have the time to get to know these people because they already did it.
Yeah.
When I say they reference stuff, like, yeah, I mean, but it's a tiny little flashback, and you might not get the extent of it. That's just me.
Okay. Definitely sounds like it's worth checking out.
Well, I think you should. And
yeah.
I know you are getting the first copy loaned to you your way.
Yes.
However, you don't know when you'll be able to see the second one.
Right.
If Vudu ever has like a 2-pack on digital,
yeah,
whenever that happens, likely whenever they release the second one.
And Voodoo's good about that.
Voodoo's very good about that.
If you want to sponsor us, Voodoo, let us know.
I love you, by the way.
Yeah.
I have given you lots of money lately in my life. But if they do like a special sale on a 2-pack one day, because we love you for that, Voodoo, you have lots of good sales.
Oh, yeah.
I can't always afford them, but I just like that you do it.
Yeah.
So if they ever have a good sale on Kingsmen 1 and 2, I'd say not a bad purchase for you.
Okay.
Maybe, I would say, maybe watch 1 by this person who's loaning it to you.
Yeah, since I'm getting to watch it for free.
Yeah, to make sure you like it.
Yeah. Because with any movie, if somebody loans it to you for free and you still hate it, you know it's not worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you like it and Voodoo has like a nice double pack for sale, wouldn't be the worst purchase.
Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely be checking it out.
Yeah.
Any closers here? Because we still have a little bit of time before our shows come back.
Not a lot.
Not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time.
No.
So if you'd like a breakdown of what we're going to talk to you about this year.
One of our rougher segues here.
So we are going to be, again, we're the S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Yes.
So whenever that comes back on, we'll talk about that.
Whenever. We know winter now, and we know we have a poster.
But till then, we will talk about the Inhumans, as we already have.
Yeah. But now I'll get to see it.
Now you'll get to see it, and we get to kind of do the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff without the S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
So there's that. We will talk about The Flash, and we will talk about Supergirl.
Yep.
New shows, obviously, we have the Orville.
Yeah, we're going to keep talking about that. Hopefully I'll keep having stuff to talk about with Discovery.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I will. You are the Discovery guy.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you will.
It does.
I mean, as you said, it will have to take a drastic dip.
But you shows have done it.
We're
looking at you, iZombie.
And lastly, we're going to be watching The Gifted.
Yes.
The new X-Men show without the X-Men on Fox.
Right, yeah.
But I will say...
So we have S.H.I.E.L.D. without S.H.I.E.L.D., we have X-Men without X-Men.
Yes. And... well, I don't want to say that.
And we have Flash without Reverse Flash. And now we have a sad TeeVo.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But lastly, since you brought up iZombie, don't worry, we're still going to talk about iZombie. Just we're going to work out exactly how we're going to talk about iZombie when they come back.
Yeah.
It's not dead to us, but...
Oh, interesting choice of terms there.
Yeah, but...
but it may become a Netflix binge show.
Yeah. So we have done more quality versions of quality shows in like one sitting, a la, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders. And I love them. Yeah. Because I can just watch it.
Right.
I really think that if I just binge Netflix, iZombie on Netflix, instead of watching it weekly, I think it's going to be different.
I think so too.
And I really hope so.
Yeah.
Maybe not enough to make me go, okay, I want to watch it weekly now.
Right, yeah.
But that is if you will like a preview of what's to come, because next week we will have the Orville to talk about. Right. We will have the Inhumans to talk about. I've already talked about it, but I like to hear what the Beard has to say. And we do have the Gifted.
Yes.
So we're almost at the complete package.
Yes.
And then the next week after that, the CW has granted us stuff again.
Yes, because they're bringing all their stuff out in the 1 week. So
I will. Oh. I know I did have stuff to say.
Okay.
Supergirl, the teaser so far, I'm intrigued.
Yes.
I'm very intrigued on what's to come. Yeah. Because Saturn Girl is coming, so the Legion is definitely coming. Yep. I mean, come on. You cannot put whatever planet Wynn's girlfriend's from.
Yeah.
And, if you have to wiki it to know that that's the Legion's, home base, and then the rings in the Fortress of Solitude, and now the actual Legion of superheroes coming, Mon-El better be with them.
Oh, he better.
He better.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm still excited.
Yeah.
Flash?
I've got my fingers crossed for Flash. I mean, we know Barry's coming back.
Well, here's the thing. Thank you, CW, for giving us a big crossover.
Yeah.
But did you have to talk about a wedding? Because you already spilled the beans that he's basically coming back. Yeah. Immediately.
Yeah, they showed his new suit. It's so he's returning. Okay.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah.
Almost. And not only that, but, they do add the mystery. Oh, is he going to come back the same?
Yeah.
And that could open up some great moments and great, mystery for us of, whether he'd be back in the same spot with Iris.
Right.
Well, guess they are.
Yeah.
Because, clearly they get married because that's the focal point of the crossover.
Right.
So it's like, thank you, but could you have just held out just a little longer?
It's like DC and Marvel live on two different ends of the secret spectrum. Where Marvel, with S.H.I.E.L.D., we literally know nothing about.
We got a poster, and that poster said nothing.
Right, it said winter.
Yeah.
That's all.
And we
didn't even give us a date.
Yeah, barely. We didn't see character in it.
Yeah, where CW and DC, they say, oh, here's basically everything.
Yep.
It's like, no, meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just, I read it going, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I will for sure watch it, all of it. But again,
why tell it? I mean, we knew there was going to be a crossover. I mean, that's par for the course now. You don't have to tell us what the crux of it is.
Yeah. The only thing I do wish of this one is that, all 4 episodes be actually a crossover.
Yes. Yeah.
I swear if Supergirl, again, if your last scene is the one segueing into it, which then is replayed in the next episode.
Right.
It's not really a crossover.
Not at all.
So I hope they learn from that. And I don't know what they do for Legends and Arrow. But I remember watching the Arrow one going,
yeah.
I think this is for Arrow people.
Yeah, I did not. Last season, I did not care at all about their episode of the crossover.
Yeah. And what I like about it so far, it looks like it's going to be a little more contained than an invasion.
Yeah.
So hopefully the finale fight will be a lot cooler.
And maybe it will be something that actually affects the worlds.
Yes, that they'll talk about.
An alien invasion that nobody has mentioned since.
That they'll talk about.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that CW tends to do. They do a lot of things that nobody ever talks about anymore.
Right. Yeah. We're looking at you, Alex.
Yep. And hopefully you're in the crossover.
Right, yeah.
And just lastly before we go, again with Supergirl, I hope at least Wynn goes with you.
Yeah.
Here's how I want this to go. If you are too cheap to pay David Harwood or Shiloh Lee or Floriana Lima or Makad Brooks to go to the other shows, at least start the crossover with the villains of Earth X coming to Supergirl's Earth.
Right.
And then, then we go to the main Arrowverse.
Yes, yeah.
And maybe take Wynn with you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, who's the one that knows you in and out?
Yeah.
And it looks like there's going to be an evil Kryptonian.
And we still want that proper Wynn Cisco crossover.
Well, I especially want Wynn to come this time because, he crossed over in the Flash musical thing.
Right.
So
didn't really count though.
At least the actor did. He was on another show, so that kind of counts.
Yeah.
And it looks like Vibe.
Well, in that case, Ravi has crossed over also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it looks like Vibe is also going to be part of the battle.
Yeah.
So he can't be in the background calling. So, Wynn.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Just saying.
Yeah.
And are we saying this because I like Wynn better than Cisco? Maybe.
Yeah. But, that's because Wynn's better than Cisco.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'd be nice to have both of them.
It would be nice. Yeah. But it's just, please incorporate Supergirl on her team. I'm just saying, I'm sorry, you don't want a highly, specialized agent on your side. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't want the Guardian on your side.
Yeah.
You don't want the Manhunter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And CW, you own all these people now. Use them to your advantage.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah. And I think that about wraps us up for this episode. And
it does.
See you next week.